Shout out to the FSU faithful. Shout out to the Polk County No faithful. You are tuned into another episode of Cooking with the Polk County No. It's your midweek news and notes. We're going to do something a little bit different. Not too many news and notes to cover. But I do want to talk about FSU Hoops. And we're going to cover the projected spring depth chart, offense and defense. Some interesting developments that I think people need to know if you're not aware of. So we're going to get cooking on that right now as I speak. We're going to start off with FSU Hoops. FSU beat Louisville this past Monday, 82-67, solidifying themselves as the top team alone atop the ACC standings with 3 more games left in the regular season. Trenton Forrest went for 16, also had a tremendous poster, yammed on a dude from Louisville, big time dunk, Vassell with 12, Walker with 12, and Williams finish it off with 11. That's pretty much your core big four, if you, in my opinion. Those are your 4 main players for this team going into ACC tournament play and then the big tournament. With a guy like Polite coming off the bench, you got a solid squad there. In my opinion, FSU Hoops really, really trending in a positive note. Really, in my opinion, they're kind of getting some of their best play from their players at the right time. And as of right now, they are projected as high as a number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. We'll see how the ACC tournament goes, but they're projected as high as a 2 seed for tournament play. So, that's about, Florida State's doing some program history making things this season, and I am excited and looking forward to only 3 games left. So we should finish off the season on a positive note. And we got we got 2 buys for the ACC tournament. So they are, hoops is where it's at right now for Florida State University. But most likely, to be honest with you, if you're tuned into this channel, I cover basketball, I cover football, but if you tuned into this channel, you most likely started watching because of football. So we're going to talk about the projected spring depth chart. The depth chart going into spring practice and the spring game. So, quick disclaimer, you won't see, this is not, so what I decided to do, I decided to go with their depth chart and then my depth chart. Now, this is not who I think, nor who they think will start the season at these positions. This also doesn't include players who just signed unless they early enrollee. So you will not see a guy like Demore Tate on here or a guy like that, right? You won't see Corey Wren on here or a player like that. This is going to be from only players that are already on the team and early enrollee freshmen will have made the depth chart as well. Also, guys that may have suffered injuries last year who aren't quite ready for spring ball won't be on the depth chart. Again, this is not who I think will be the starter at these positions. This is just a projected spring depth chart. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go position by position, player by player. Let's cook on it, baby. So when I say there, I mean other websites. I did a combination of other websites that project their depth chart, combine theirs, and this is what they are projecting as the depth chart. And then I did what I would do at the depth chart. So their projection for quarterback, James Blackman starting spring, Jordan Travis, Rodemaker coming up the third wheel. And quite frankly, I agree with everything right there. As far as spring goes, I would start it off with Black and Travis. Have those be the 2 quarterbacks of the opposing spring football teams. And you'd have a guy like Rodemaker in there to get some burn and some playing time. I don't expect Rodemaker to be really a factor in this upcoming season. Black, Travis. Those are going to be the two guys that I think that are very, very crucial to watching the spring game. We agree there. Running backs, they got Laybourne, Grant, Douglas, and Jay Sean Corbin. That's their depth chart. Mine is a little different. I agree with them on Laybourne. I think starting spring practice, Laybourne's your guy. I do not have Anthony Grant as my second string. I got Ja'Kai Douglas as my second string. I think right now he's probably a better football player than Anthony Grant. I haven't seen enough of Anthony Grant to even know that how good he is a football player. So I would have Ja'Kai Douglas at second string at early enrollee, and then I'd have Anthony Grant and then Jay Sean. Now the only reason I have Jay Sean last, and the only reason why I think they have Jay Sean last is because Jay Sean isn't even eligible to play next year. So if they can't get a waiver for Jay Sean Corbin, it doesn't make sense to have him taking a bulk of the snaps. He may very well get some burn along with guys like Odell Sheffield, along with guys like Trayshawn Ward, those two walk-on running backs that we got to see in the bowl game. We had no scholarship running back available. um, so you may also get to see those guys, but that's my four deep depth chart at running back. Laybourne, Douglas, who I think is a sleeper and has been confirmed by Norvell to be a running back, not a receiver. We thought he was recruited as a receiver, or so we thought. Norvell has said that he is a running back. So you got Laybourne, Douglas, Grant, and Corbin as my projected top four. I do think you'll have a mix of Sheffield and Ward in there somewhere. And that's your running back position. Excuse me. Of course, the page wants to stick together now that I'm making a video. Wide receiver. Their depth chart: Tamorion Terry, Ontario Wilson, DJ Matthews. Those are your three starters, obviously with DJ in the slot, Wilson and Terry. Mine differs. Of course, Terry is the one. I got either Warren Thompson or Jordan Young. I put a Thompson/Young at that second spot. Doesn't mean I don't like Ontario Wilson, and doesn't mean that I don't think Ontario Wilson can be a effective player. I just really want to see guys like Jordan Young and Warren Thompson's size, speed, and athleticism get some burn. So that's who I put second. And, of course, I have DJ Matthews in the slot. Now, if Keyshawn Helton was healthy, he probably will miss spring with his injury. If he was healthy, he'd be my slot guy. But he's not. I assume, from everything that I'm hearing and reading, Keyshawn's going to miss the spring, which is fine. Get healthy for the season. So for them, behind DJ Matthews, they have Warren Thompson, Brian Robinson, and I have Ontario Wilson and Brian Robinson. So that is our 5 deep wide receiver. Let's go to tight end. The tight end is where things really get kind of shaken up, in my opinion. This is where things kind of, you go like, oh, so they did that. Their starter is Cam McDonald, of course, followed by true freshman, early enrollee Carter Boatwright, and then Wyatt Rector. That's right, former quarterback, now tight end Wyatt Rector. So when I found that out, I completely changed it up. Of course, I'm going to have Cam McDonald start. I'm with Cam McDonald starting. Them dogs working outside. I got Cam McDonald. But I got Wyatt Rector, who I think is more physically developed than a Carter Boatwright. Even though he's new to the position, Wyatt Rector is more physically ready for college football than a Carter Boatwright. I would put Wyatt Rector as my number 2 tight end, followed by Boatwright, the true freshman, who I would probably hold off on getting any burn. But there's your tight ends. And Rector has been slated to be in a H-back/tight end role. So that's interesting. I'm going to be very interested to see how Wyatt Rector pans out. I'm excited to see that. That is one of the big developments from the depth chart so far this offseason is the moving of Rector. I like the move. Uh, if he wasn't a quarterback, a guy that big, and I saw some speed on him in those tour duty drills. Guy that big with some speed on him, hey, you got to find a way to utilize him. I like him. Like putting him at H back, like lining him up there at that tight end. That might be a gem right there, a diamond in the rough. Not to offensive line, it's everybody's favorite position group, right? That O line, baby. Let's talk about it. Remember, none of the freshmen that aren't early enrollees are going to be on here, so numbers look kind of thin right now, but we have more numbers than what's being shown. Um, at your left tackle, everybody's pretty much going with Love Taylor, Devontae Love Taylor, and I agree. Followed up by Jay Williams, the guy, the former JUCO offensive tackle who we didn't see a lick last year. Well, they got him on the two deep. I personally believe that's only because they don't have all the numbers for the spring. Um, that guy probably doesn't see any playing time, but they have him on the two deep at right. It's expected that Darius Washington, will not be available for the spring. Nothing's been confirmed yet. If he is available, Washington is my right tackle. I think everybody would agree there. They have Chaz Neal, but I think that's because they're saying Washington won't be there. And if Washington isn't available, I do believe we'll see Chaz Neal at that right tackle, followed by Jalen Goss, who, for all I'm hearing, is still can't seem to put on any weight. And at this point, if you're Jalen Goss and you can't put on the weight to play offensive line, just make him a big tight end, in my opinion. Move him to defensive end. Does he have any athleticism to play DN? It might be time to maybe move Jalen Goss around the depth chart and see where he fits in most if he can't play offensive tackle. At your guards, Lucas is apparently going to be available for the spring. From the looks of it, if he is, that's your starting guard. Followed by they have Brady Scott, and that's fine. He's one of the more experienced offensive guards you're gonna have on the team. Me personally, I got Ira Henry. He's an X factor, not as experienced as Scott, but I think he just may be overall more talented than a Brady Scott. Lucas was your highest graded offensive lineman all year last year, and he was a true freshman. So you give me Lucas and Ira Henry, I think you got a very good interior offensive line, followed by I got Andrew Baselli as my as my center. They have Bavion. I think that'd be a good battle to see going forward. I think Baselli, with another year in the program, back in football shape, in the weight room, in a weight program that's effective, he'll probably be my starter. We'll see what Bavion can do under some new coaching. Maybe he can um, get Bavion right. Something good to talk about with Bavion. If he can't play center, maybe you put him next to Lucas, right? Maybe you not next to him directly, but at the other guard position. If you think Ira Henry may not be ready, and maybe Bayon's more talented than a Brady Scott, I think Bayon is able to be moved around because I think you have a guy Maurice Smith who can be moved around from guard to center, and I think you have a lot of versatility on this offensive line. I think this line with the right coaching and body development, this line's going to be better than I think what people um, expect. And, it's worth noting that for the offensive line, unlike the other positions that we've been through so far, there was no starter's name. Every position, from what I've read, every position is up for grabs on the offensive line. Nobody is set in stone, so I like that. I like that, making guys work hard for it. Now let's go over to this defensive depth chart. We're going to start at defensive end. Kando and McClendon. I agree. Kando and McClendon would be my two starter. Gainer is the wild card here. Do they want to put Gainer's hand in the dirt? I think Gainer may get some rotation at DN. I think Gainer might be one of the most versatile defensive players we're going to have on the team. We can play defensive end, linebacker. I think you'll see when you look at the trend of this depth chart, that Gainer's name comes up in a lot of spots. Nose tackle Cooper, True Thompson, obviously. Again, this you don't have like Manny Rogers, right? You don't have him on the depth chart because he wasn't an early enrollee. I think he would be in that nose tackle type conversation. But Cooper, True. Then at the other at the D tackle spot, you got Marvin and Corey Durden. Obviously, expect Jarrett Jackson to get plenty of burn here as well. He's up to 290. Odell says he's going to be a defensive tackle, and yeah, so I think expect Jarrett Jackson to get plenty of burn there. I could see them playing Jarrett Jackson next to a guy like Marvin or Coop, two really big defensive tackle slash nose tackle types, and maybe at 290 he's more versatile, more athletic, can get around blocks. I think you let the nose tackle eat up some blocks, let 290 pound defensive tackle try to make some moves in there. Jarrett Jackson will be in that rotation. Fox. So this is a new position for Florida State fans. Fox. This is the other defensive end, but they stand him up. So this is the stand-up defensive end, where the defensive end, which is considered like the weak side D end, where Kane Doe McClendon. This is be considered the strong side defensive end. And this has Janoris Robinson and Briggs. Again, we're pretty much looking at the depth chart, we're pretty much even on what they would do, what I would do on this depth chart. But I think you can expect to see Quayshawn Fuller, expect to see a guy like Jamarcus Chapman in this role. We haven't seen or heard much from either player so far in their Florida State tenure. Expect to see, I think you can see maybe those two guys in this role with Janoris Robinson and Dennis Briggs get some burn in there. At Mike linebacker, Emmett Rice slash Leonard Warner slash Cornell Jones. I think Emmett Rice is going to be your starter, followed by Warner. Jones is another guy who has to get eligibility. Jones is not considered a elite athlete. Emmett Rice is probably the best athlete out of the bunch. So I have Emmett Rice as my Mike linebacker. Now your Will linebacker. This is, again, this name comes up. Amari Gainer is pretty much being penciled in as the starter, but he's got some, in my opinion, he's going to have a lot of competition. But again, Gainer can be fit in so many different roles. But right now it's Gainer and McCray on the two deep. But expect to see guys like Deloach, Glenn, Dix Jr. You're going to see, I think, a multitude of players get some burn at that linebacker position, that Will linebacker. Now the stud position. So the stud position is considered what we used to call our star position. And that's me personally. This is where I'd have Hamza Nasruddin. Now Nasruddin isn't on any of the depth charts because no one expects him to be in the spring. And Nasruddin needs to get healthy. If Nasruddin was available, I'd have Nasruddin right here at the stud position. They have Woodbay. I do not want Woodbay playing that linebacker slash safety role. I don't. I don't want it. I want Woodbay back to his natural position. I have Gant. I think Gant is a good. So they have Gant as their second string behind Woodbay. I would have Nasruddin and Gant as my two deep. With Nasruddin not being there, I got Gant and Woody the third as my two deep at the stud. Cornerback, Asante and Browley. I agree with that. I would have Asante and Browley on my dude team. And at the other corner, they got Dent and Green. I got Dent and Bolden. I want to see more from Isaiah Bolden. I think he's got the size. He's got the athleticism to be pretty good. So I want to see more from Dent and more from Bolden. But we all agree Dent and Asante are probably your two starters for the spring. Expect a guy like Demore Tate to come in there in the fall and challenge both of those guys for some starting position. At your free safety, we got Fagan and Woody the third. I have Woodbay and Fagan. That's who I want as my two starters at the free safety position. It was Woodbay and Fagan. And then, of course, we're going to finish it off with your strong safety with Travis J. and Carlos Becker. I pretty much agree with all of that. That's pretty much the breakdown of FSU's two deep roster, or just the spring depth chart in general, what they project. Again, that will not be your final depth chart, obviously, because there's a boatload of kids that still need to come on campus and compete. And I think some have a legit chance to get some burn. Um, but yeah, man, tell me in the comments what you guys think. You like what they're doing? Do you like my depth chart? Do you like? For the most part, we kind of are even on the depth charts. But there are certain uh, what word am I looking for here? There are certain things that I want to change up and want to do differently on the depth chart. Wood Bay being a big one for me, and a guy like Ira Henry getting some starting time. So just if you like it, let me know. Like always, man, if you like the content, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. Drop the comments. Tell me what you think of depth charts. What do you think about the Wyatt Rector move? That's a big move that I personally like. What do you guys think? And again, I try to keep you guys updated as much as possible on Florida State news and notes, man. Um, as always, man, stay classy, Seminoles, and chop it up. I'm out. Until next time.